In the 1990s, Kojima had finally begun to master the stealth genre. His first game, Metal Gear for the MSX2 and the NES, had taken all by storm, being praised for its story, gameplay, and innovative design. Kojima saw greatness, while Konami saw the profits, releasing a unbeknownst to Kojima, called Snake's Revenge. It was released on the NES to a less than joyful audience. It was then that Kojima returned, bringing Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, which released exclusively in Japan, and was enjoyed by the few people who played it. Kojima had left Metal Gear, moving on to games such as Police Notes and Snatcher. When Sony unveiled the new console, the PlayStation, Kojima saw a chance to return to Metal Gear. In 1994, Sony announced a PlayStation, a 32-bit console capable of rendering 3D graphics. While only being 32-bit, it was extremely powerful and mesmerized the audience with its amazing graphics. It was because of this power that Kojima saw a chance to take Metal Gear and bring it up to the industry standards, combining his original vision with 3D gameplay. His new game would be called Metal Gear Solid. Development for Metal Gear Solid began in 1995. It kept true to its origins, and while boasting 3D visuals, it retained the top-down view and 2D playing style of its predecessors. Its 3D graphics allowed polygonal characters and changes in perspective. These changes allowed players to glance at corners and take investigate wall, creating intense gameplay. Many weapons such as the rocket launcher also provided a first-person view, giving players a chance to aim more precisely. While many other games were simply being remade in 3D, Metal Gear Solid continued on with Metal Gear 2 in story, while keeping the inventory and stealth mechanics much the same. Metal Gear Solid was finally released in 1998, selling over 6 million copies. Once again, Metal Gear Solid won over its audiences with an entrancing plot, now told through full 3D cinematics which seamlessly blended in and out of gameplay. The narrative had you once again play as Snake, as he infiltrated Shadow Moses, a top-secret nuclear base hidden in the far reaches of Alaska. His mission was to take down the terrorist group that had taken over the facility and prevent them from starting a nuclear war. Both the old and new characters featured in the story, leading to a complex and entertaining campaign that satisfied audiences. Kojima's film just once again came into play, with a cutscene telling an interesting narrative with clear inspiration of Hollywood. The script was once again amazing, giving characters personality through dialogue. Voice actors managed to fully flesh out the characters, a rare feat for games in the 90s. David Hayter's portrayal of Snake was a standout, and his voice became synonymous with the character, leading to Reese Witherspoon being replaced, but we'll get up to that later. The outstanding cutscenes made the game different. This allowed Kojima to finally flex his film muscle, all while allowing the player to interact with his masterpiece. The game forced players to think outside the box, using unheard of ways to interact with the gamer. For example, it made people look at the back of the box to find code needed to proceed in the game. In fact, many of the characters in the game did something even 90s television wanted to do: break the fourth wall. When enemies had to defeat the boss Psycho Mantis, we would read the console's memory card and spook players out by reading what games they've been playing. The game had also become famous for other reasons. The cutscenes were extremely long in order to convey the complicated narrative. In fact, there were enough cinematics to make a feature-length film, while Kojima took this in stride, adding the same feature to all future Metal Gear Solid games. After all, Kojima always made the game he wanted to make, not the game he thought would sell. And so for the third time, Kojima stepped away from Metal Gear Solid, but seeing his talent, Konami knew that they couldn't let him leave. Tune in next time to see Metal Gear Solid lose the plot.